Okay, could you see my PowerPoint? Okay. For today, as I said, I will continue on like the next concept of the solid waste management, like the principle, other principle like the economic instrument to apply for the solid waste management. As we know, this is show like the process of solid waste management, like a start from like a waste generation, but sometimes we have some like the source separations, right? And also after we throw waste, it become to the waste, right? And then the next process is like the collection and transportation. And after transportation, sometimes they operate like some plant for separation and processing before transfer to incineration or landfill sites, right? And during this process, they use many costs, right, for the investment cost, not only the transportation, but during transportation, if we have some the process for make some recycling process or like the separation or recovery process, this step maybe is a lot of cost for the waste management, right? And also not only the disposal cost in different cost in different method for disposal is like a different cost, right? Maybe the incineration process for dispose the solid waste may be expensive than like a landfill methods, right? And during the waste transfer and disposal method, they consume a lot of cost, not only the transportations, right, like operation cost and also like for like a human cost, something like that. But during the waste management process, we think about only like the investment cost, right? But sometimes we don't in Thailand, normally we don't think about like the environmental cost, right? That's why today I want to talk about like the economic in terms of the environmental economics, right? To apply for the waste management. You can see normally the cost for solid waste management in Thailand, we calculate only based on like the collection system, like the how much we have to pay per month is quite cheap, right, in Thailand. But some plans also they include the transportation and collections cost for like a waste management, but for the disposal cost is quite expensive. Normally, it's supported by the government, nowadays normally it's local government, they get the money from the government, right? And also they try to apply for support in their local response for like a solid waste disposal, especially in landfill site. This is like if we calculate in terms of the full cost, it's quite expensive, right? But you can see the fee for like a waste management in Thailand is quite cheap. Why? Because the government already support for the transportation cost and also for make some benefits from like a utilization, right? And also for the disposal, they also support maybe 100% for like a waste management, but only the cost for the collections process. We have to the people have to pay some fee or charge in like the waste generation per month. You can see the rate of fee for the waste management in Thailand. Like a waste generation is lower than 20 liters per day. You have to pay this number is like the maximum levels, like the maximum for like a fee charge for the waste management, like a 65 baht per month, is quite cheap, right? But not only less than 10% in the area in Thailand, we can collect in like the 65 baht per month. But normally, in generally for others province or others area, maybe only 20 baht or 40 baht or 30 baht, depend on the local government that decide for their area. is quite cheap, right? If you look at this number, because we don't include like the total cost for the waste management. This is why the the normally the people they don't concern about the reduce the amount of waste, right? Because they have to pay like the low money, like a low cost for waste management. That's why they don't concern about to reduce, reuse, and recycle process or separation as loss, because they pay only charge for like the collection system. But also they have some other rate for waste generation if you produce during like 20 liters to 500 liters per day. They calculate in terms of the unit. That means if over than 20 liters, they calculate in like a 1 unit, right? And then if higher 20 liters, right, like a lower 10 liter, it's calculated in 0.5 unit. They calculate in terms of units, right? And you can multiply by 65 baht per unit. Don't forget the 45 baht is like the maximum level, but depend on that area. Like a local government, some area they have own rates, right? Like a 20 baht per unit or like a 50 baht per unit, something like that. And also if you generate like a more than 1,000 liters per day, they also calculate in terms of the unit about like a 3 to 50 baht per unit, right? This is like a too cheap for like the we have to pay for the waste management in Thailand. That's why the law and regulation in Thailand cannot force their people to reduce the amount of waste because they don't concern about the environment, right? Because they know only 20 baht or 30 baht per month is like a too cheap. That's why some other country they try to apply the concept of like the economic environmental economic include in like a waste management, like a high fee or high charge per month. It's like the follow the concept of the polluter pay principle. If you produce high pollution, that means you like a polluters, right? If you produce high pollution, you have to pay more and more for not only the management but for the environmental also, like environmental cost. uh, what does it mean about the definition about the environmental cost? Normally, some countries they include the environmental cost in their products or their goods before they sell to the customers, right? Sometimes they say they sell they produce about the product they contain like the heavy metal or like a hazardous material. The government will force them to increase the cost of the environment to force the producer and also for like the customer to concerns about the environment. The environmental cost mean like a cost connect with the actual or potential deterioration of the natural assets due to the economic activity. For example, like the waste management in terms of like the landfilling, like a landfills, right? If we dispose the landfill, normally we don't think only like the weight, like how volume of the solid waste that put onto the land, right? Normally we calculate 1 kilogram equal to like the 10 baht, something like that. That is like a cost for management, right? But for cost for environment, you have to think about like a cost of air pollution, landfill gas emission. If you calculate in terms of like a carbon emission to the environment, 1 kilogram of the solid waste maybe it can produce like one 0.5 kilograms of the carbon dioxide or 1 kilogram of the methane, and then calculate in terms of the money and environmental impact. That means you have to pay more 10 baht for a kilogram of the solid waste that you dispose, right? Maybe 100 or 1,000 baht if you include the environmental cost into the solid waste management. And also, if your waste contain like a toxic material. Maybe it can cause of toxic gas emission. It's very dangerous to the general waste, right? That's why it's high impact on the environment. Maybe the cost of environment will higher and higher, right? And also for the nuance leachate, not only the environmental cost, right? But some country they concerned about like the social cost also. It's like tied to catch in like the sustainable development goals, right? Not only things about the economic, but they have to think about the environment and also the social have to get together, right? This is show like the meaning of the environmental cost that related to the solid waste management. The economic instrument, they have many economic instrument for like the environmental cost, right? But that related to the solid waste management, I will show you only 2 or 3 strategy or instrument for like the waste management, like the polluter pay principle. That's I give you some information from last week, right, to learn about the polluter pay principle. Normally, the polluter pay principle will apply in like the producer is like the manufacturers, right? Or like the company. If you want to produce the products, right? But during the manufacturing process, you produce like the pollution. That means you like the polluters, right? You have to pay the cost for the environmental cost that relates into the environment, like the pollutants, like the concentration of the wastewaters or high concentration of air pollution. You have to pay that money to save the environment, right? But the information that I give you on last week, maybe the example on like a plastic bags, right? But some country, they don't force only the company, but they force people by apply the polluter pay principle also. It's like you have to pay the money to buy the plastic bag in like a high cost or like to force to reduce the amount of the plastic waste, right? They have to charge the money if you want to use that product, something like that. This is like the concept of the polluter pay principle. This can apply for the solid waste management to reduce the amount of waste. This is like the one concept, right? And other concept that normally Thailand use this concept for like the economic instrument for the waste management, like a user pay principle. That means who use the waste management system, like the collection system, right? As I show you previous slides, right? We have to pay the local governments for the waste collection, maybe about like a 20 baht or 30 baht per month. That means we use the system for the collections, right? That means we use that the system. We have to pay the money for charge or for fees, right? Like a user pay principle for the collection system of the solid waste. This is like the one economic instrument that's used in Thailand for the waste management. But as I show you information, it's like a low cost, right? Low cost for the waste management. That's why the people don't concern to the concept of to reduce the amount of the solid waste, right? If we increase like the cost of the waste management, based on the concept of user pay principle, maybe 100 or 200 or 500 baht per month for the waste management. It's like includes the other costs, not only the collection. After collection, we have other process, right? We have to include all investment cost for the waste management. Maybe we can force their people to reduce amount of waste by using the user pay principle also. And for the others, other country, they have some others, the tax for the pollution tax or environmental tax. Not only the fee or charge or like a fine for the pollution, but they have some like other tax for if you like you have some like old companies, right? And also you produce the pollution, you have to pay more the tax pollution, not only the tax for like for the products, right? Not only the product tax, but you have to pay for the pollution tax also. some other country they success for the pollution tax. For example, it's like a landfill tax cost, because normally we calculate the pollution based on like the waste production and also like the emission charge, like the stack from the stack like this. If you produce like a high carbon dioxide or high greenhouse gas, something like that, you have to pay for the pollution tax. It's like the pollution tax. That means like an element of the economic mechanism designed to reduce the pollution. That means if you produce like more pollutions, right, you have to pay more tax. If you it's like they have for the calculated tax, it's like they have some like a complicated, right? Like maybe it can charge in like a standard rate and medium rate or like a high rate, something like that. This is like the pollution tax, but the government use this strategy to control the pollution of the pollution that's emission to the environment. If you can reduce the pollution, maybe you can pay low and low tax, right? It's like maybe back to like a high rate to like the standard rate, something like that. This is like concept of the pollution tax. This is show like the waste tax, like waste tax that's applied for like a waste management in terms of landfill. We call like the landfill tax, right? Normally, landfill tax or waste tax aim to promote the waste recovery and reduce the amount of waste ending up in landfill. That means maybe you produce like the 100 kilogram of the solid waste. If you transfer 100 kilogram to the landfill, maybe you have to pay like the full rate, like 100% of the percent of tax, right? But if you can reduce the amount of waste, maybe you don't you transfer only the 50% to landfill. Maybe you have reduce the amount of cost for landfill tax, maybe like more than 50% also. For the landfill tax, you can see this is the just an example of the rate from other countries, right? You can see they have some different rates, like for like motivation for like the reduce the amount of waste, like the standard rate or low rate. Normally, this rate we don't collect from like the people, right? But the government will charge this rate from like the owners landfills, like owners company, something like that, who operate the landfill site. You have to pay the landfill tax. Normally, you pay only for your business, right? Like investment cost, operation cost, and like the certificate from local government, something like that. But nowadays, some country, the government will charge the tax for landfill because we know the landfill produce a lot of the greenhouse gas, right? Like methane, carbon dioxide, or other gas that cause of the global warming and climate change. It's like a important issue. That's why the high the like the rates of the charge for the landfill tax tend to increase. If we estimate for the future, the number of landfill tax is like a per tons of the waste, the solid waste is quite high, right? This is also it can force to the people also to reduce the amount of the solid waste because in other countries they include this landfill tax for like a waste collection and transportation also. That's why other countries they pay a lot of the money in like a for fee or charge in every month for like for waste management in their homes, right? This is the concept of like the landfill tax. You can see if we can apply this concept in Thailand, maybe we can reduce the amount of waste that transfer to the landfills, right? Maybe we try to use like the benefit in other terms, like in others objects, right? Like for incineration, or maybe for like to make some like a recycling process or something like that. This is like just the concept of the landfill tax. It's many countries also apply this concept in their waste management system. And this is show like the case study of the waste management policy in like a federal. This can reduce the reduce like the separation collection in the 20 year from like 18% to over 70%. It can separate the solid waste at the source. This is like the waste management in Belgium, right? That's it's like the just one area that I show you about like they can succeed to apply like the concept of like the fee or charge for the waste management of the local government. You can see they have some like the waste separation at source, right? And also they have some shop for like a reuse center shop in their areas, right? And also some parts of the organic waste, they have to separate and make some composting box that's supply from the local government, right? You can see the local government, they act like they have like support many equipment or many material for separate this solid waste at the source, right? And you can see this is the like the typical street view on the packaging waste collection day. It's like they have maybe it's like they in 1 week have 7 days, right? But they operate only the waste collection only like 2 or 3 days per week, because the amount of the solid waste is quite low, right? Low amounts of the solid waste, because they try to separate at source and use other benefit from waste at the source already. They reduce the amount of the waste that will collect by the local government. You can see the graph. The blue line represents like a total waste collection to the separation collections, right? And the total residual waste from the disposal. You can see the waste will transfer to the disposal process is continuously decreased, right? Because they have some like the process to separate as source, right? And also the lesson learned from this area, the instrument that they use, not only the legal, but not only law and regulations, right? But the social and financial is also important. And they use like the one concept of like the pay as you return system, like a polluter pay principle. If you produce 1 kilogram, you have to pay like 10 baht. If you pay like 1,000 kilogram, you can multiply by 10 baht, right? That means like they have some like the charge rate is like increase the rate of the charge for like pay as you return. If you told less tone, that means you pay less also, right? This is like the concept of like the use some economic instrument for the solid waste management. And also for the other case study in like the energy from waste, possibly in scattering, recycling, and reuse in Sweden. Sweden normally they dispose the solid waste by landfill, right? They are based on like a landfilling on some mix between like a combustible and non-combustible. But now they have some like the landfill tax, right? After they approach the landfill tax into like the waste management in Sweden, the uh, the people try to separate the solid waste and make and transfer some kind of waste like the combustible waste to like for the incineration process. That means the amount of the solid waste that transfer to landfill is reduced, right? Because like a high tax of the landfill tax, right? A high cost for landfill tax. You can see the recycling rate, right? About like a 10 years or 12 years, right? You can see the recycling process is increased, right? And also the landfill is tend to decrease. You see the landfill in Sweden in 2001, about 22% disposed by landfill. But in 2013, you can see the landfill is disposed only less than 1% of the waste management because of that apply like a landfill tax concept into this area. It can force the number of the landfill waste, right? And also after they separate and reduce the amount of landfill waste, they know the property of their waste. It can cause of combustibles, right? They apply for like a waste to energy. You can see the number of waste to energy increase like a double, right? For the heat and electricity, for heat from like a 7.8 to nearly 14%, right? It's like a double that they can use the benefit from waste, and as well as they can reduce the amount of the landfill waste also. That's why the land area to operate the landfill is reduced in Sweden, right? And also, before their success in this concept for landfill tax and waste to energy in Sweden, normally the separation as thought is very important, right? There are people is can separate like a many kinds of waste for like one step is like a reuse separation as thought, and after waste it can some waste it can reuse recycling and waste to energies, right? It's material for our product to feed in the industries, right? And also for the landfilling is reduce and reduce, right? This and they can success in like the waste to energy and reduce the amount of the solid waste that transfer to dispose to landfill in Sweden. You can see the important thing for like the success in waste management, not only the like legals, right? And not only law and regulation, but you have to think about like the behavior, right? The behavior of their peoples also. If they can separate and their concerns about the cost of the environment and their concerns about like the environmental impact and pollution, they have to help to like reduce and separation to reduce the amount of waste, right? This is show like the one case that success for the solid waste management. And today, I just want you to know about like the concept of the instrument for the environmental cost, and also for like the instrument for economic instrument that apply for the solid waste management, like a polluter pay principle, user pay principle, and pollution tax like landfill tax, something like that. And also nowadays in like the in sector of the industry, they also have some like a product charge, like the product surcharge. That means they have to include the cost for the environment and cost for like a toxic or hazardous material after use, right? During the manufacturing, but and then transfer to the customer, and after use it's become to waste. You have to calculate all impact of their products that we call like the product surcharge. Maybe if you use the product that damage high impact to the environment, right? You have to pay high cost to use that product also. This is just other concept that try to reduce the amount of the pollution, environmental pollution, and the waste after the product use. And also, that is the concept of the economic instrument for today that I want you to know. And for next week, it's like a midterm exam weeks, right? It's no class and no midterm exam. You can get the score from the assignments already. And maybe after midterm exam, I will show you a score about like the score of the assignment. I'm trying to correct now. And also let's see, come back to see me. Maybe after after 2 weeks, right, we can meet again after midterm exam. And don't worry for this course, we don't have midterm exam, and don't worry about grades and score. Okay, just focus on other subjects. And okay, for today, do you have any question? If you have any question, just a second, let me make some capture. Okay, thank you for your attention. If you have other questions, you can text message or direct message to me. Okay, good luck for your midterm exam for other subjects. Okay, see you after midterm exam. สวัสดีค่ะ Okay, may I stop?
สวัสดีครับผมครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ